Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and now joining me on set is First Lieutenant Blake Tabor with the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. Thank you very much for joining us.
I appreciate you having me. All
right, it's my understanding we got a couple updates on a couple of arrests that the Sheriff's Office made, starting off with one stolen firearm and narcotics charges, if you want to fill us in on what all went down.
Absolutely. So this case kind of came to a head on Saturday, July 6th, shortly before 11 p.m. We were called to the 300 block of Nassau Court. Again, this was called in by a group of local residents about some suspicious behavior going on at the house, in addition to some reports of hearing a lot of yelling and also potential gunshots coming from within the home. So, of course, you know, anytime we get that type of call for service, required immediate response. Once we got there, they made contact with some residents at the location, which deputies quickly identified Jeffrey Joseph Bourgeois Jr. You see him photographed here, along with an additional occupant of the residence. So initially speaking with Mr. Bourgeois, they were able to determine that he was a previous convicted felon and known for drug activity. But initially, they did not locate any signs of a disturbance or anything transpiring at the residence that caused police action. As the deputies were leaving the residence or attempting to leave, one deputy, being alert, happened to look down on the ground and found a small plastic container which contained some illegal narcotics. So that, of course, prompted them to return back to the residence. Once they were able to contact both occupants, including Mr. Bourgeois, they were able to determine that Mr. Bourgeois was possibly in possession of a firearm and it was inside the home. So, of course, you know, a search led to that firearm being recovered. Ultimately, with more research, they realized that that firearm was stolen here locally out of St. Mary Parish, and were able to confirm that. They were also able to confirm that Mr. Bourgeois was, in fact, a known convicted felon. So, of course, at that point, he was quickly taken into custody. Again, once he was placed under arrest and they located the illegal narcotics, he was placed under arrest for several charges, which included possession of a firearm by convicted felon, possession of a stolen firearm, possession of a firearm in the presence of narcotics, possession of CDS-1, which was heroin, which they found some remnants of that on him, as well as he was transported to our criminal justice complex. Now, once he was strip searched at that particular location, our correctional staff found some more illegal contraband on his person in the form of Xanax. So ultimately, he is still incarcerated at our jail, and he is jailed on a $150,000 bond by local judges.
Wow, that's pretty significant. Of course, those are some serious charges that he faced.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I understand there's also a second incident or another incident that you're here to report on?
Yeah, sure. You know, these cases, when we talk about SVU, the Special Victims Unit Division, are never easy cases to talk about, but certainly they investigated an incident with a Bergman who was identified as a Gerald Joseph Danos. He's a 52-year-old male. You see him photographed here. On or about June 30th of this year, the Sheriff's Office was called to a private residence where they spoke with a juvenile victim and also a parent. This particular complaint was in regards to some sexually motivating incidents that involved the juvenile during the course of a party that was happening at an address in Berg where Mr. Danos resides. Ultimately, a very in-depth investigation, as all of these cases typically are, culminated, and also Mr. Danos was found to be in violation of some of these charges. So ultimately, on July 8th, this sort of came to a head where SVU detectives secured an arrest warrant for Mr. Danos. for several charges, one of which is indecent behavior with a juvenile and also sexual battery. He was ultimately jailed at the parish complex and later released on a $21,000 bond by local judges. Again, this is an ongoing investigation. You know, we don't want people to think that this is something that is just as simple as someone making an allegation against someone and then we go out and make an arrest. There's a lot of different depths to this particular investigation and all of these types of investigations.
Sure, and it's nothing that just comes together, you know, quickly or without any evidence. It's something that takes a lot of personnel to investigate, to really make sure that, you know, justice is done, certainly.
Absolutely. And, you know, when we come on and talk about these cases, you know, it's not as simple as someone making an accusation and then us going out and talking to the person and they denying it and us believing the victim over the suspect. There's a lot of different, again, like I said, a lot of different depth that goes into this. There's a lot of investigation that takes place. And ultimately, you know, this ended in an arrest, which we're very happy about. Okay, so you had two significant arrests there. Great work, the detectives out there, and of course the SVU. We commend them for the difficult job that they have to do, you know, with interviewing the victims and, you know, just the knowledge that they possess. It's never easy to go home with that at night, but we certainly want to thank them for all the, you know, hard work that they put in to make sure that, you know, these victims really get the help and justice that they need. Absolutely, you know, and we can kind of talk about the first case. You know, the important point to drive home with all this is that this information was generated from members of the public who, you know, were either tired or disgusted with the activities of their neighbors. And it's really important for people to understand that anytime you make a complaint with our agency, we're going to investigate it. Sometimes we can do things and sometimes we can't. But certainly we are going to look into every single aspect of every complaint that's made with our office. That's certainly a good point. And thank you for coming on and filling us in on upgoing with the Sheriff's Office. Thank you for having me. All right. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
From the moment you walk into the showroom floor at Trapp Cadillac, you understand our commitment to providing a truly exceptional experience for all returning and new customers.
Our goal is to make sure you're always comfortable while understanding the entire process of getting into your new Trapp Cadillac.
When you drive a Trapp Cadillac, you know performance, bold styling, and our assured commitment to service.
One thing you can always count on here at Trapp Cadillac is our excellent service experience.